In this video, we are going to look at the concept of group 7 elements for your chemistry. After going through this video, you understand the basic reactions or reactivity of group 7 elements for chemistry. Okay, having known this, let's go into the details of the video. So I remember looking at the concept of group 7 elements. Alright, now let's begin by outlining the group 7 elements we have. So group 7 elements include our fluorine, we have a chlorine, alright, we have our bromine, and we have our iodine. Alright, so these are the basic or common elements in group 7. Alright, so the short form for fluorine is this, for chlorine is this, and for bromine the short form is this, iodine the short form is this. Okay, now as we all know that group 7 elements are called halogens. They are halogens or salt formers. Okay, now note that fluorine is the most reactive non-metal in the periodic table. Now the reactivity of group 7 elements decreases than the group it decreases. Okay, whereas for metals than the group it increases, for non-metals it decreases than the group. While fluorine is the most reactive non-metal. In case you're asked in your MCQ chemistry what's the most reactive non-metal, the answer is what? Fluorine. While fluorine is very reactive, poisonous, and yellowish gas. Okay, it's a yellowish gas, whereas chlorine is a fairly reactive non-metal, poisonous as well, dense green gas. It's a dense green gas. Bromine is a dense poisonous gas and a red brown volatile liquid. Okay, whereas iodine is a dark gray crystalline solid or a purple vapor. Okay, now they all exist as molecules, which are pairs of atoms. Okay, now let's look at their trends. All right, let's look at the trend of group 7 elements, that's the halogens. Okay, now note that all the group 7 elements react in similar ways. Okay, this is because they all have 7 electrons in their atomic shell. And let me show you how they have 7 electrons in their atomic shell. I'm going to illustrate with fluorine and chlorine. Let me wipe this. Okay, now for fluorine, fluorine has 9 atomic number. If you want to know the atomic structure of fluorine, this is the first shell, this is the nucleus, this will be the second shell. So the first 2 electrons will occupy the first shell, remaining 7. So the 7, you will attach it here. Okay, 6, 7. All right, now what of chlorine? Chlorine has 17 atomic number. So this will be the first shell in the nucleus, this will be the second shell, and this will be the third shell. So the first shell contains maximum number of 2 electrons. The second shell we have 8 electrons. Okay, the third shell, now 8 plus 2 is 10, remaining 7. So the 7 will occupy this third shell. Okay, 6, 7. So if you check at the second shell, we have 7 electrons at the atomic shell. Alright, so the same will be applicable to that of bromine and iodine structure as well. Okay, so this is what shows that they have 7 electrons in their atomic shell. Okay, so with this you can predict their reactivity. Okay, now let's wipe this and look at the common reactions reactivity of group 7 elements. Let's wipe this. Okay, the first reaction or reactivity of group 7 elements, that's halogens, need to know is that they form molecular compounds. For instance, hydrogen chloride. Now, halogen atoms can share electrons via covalent bonding. Okay, so for instance, what is happening here? We have covalent bonding in this compound. Okay, another similar example is our hydrogen fluoride. All right, so this is a molecular compound. All right, so halogens can form molecular compounds. These are examples of molecular word compounds, and they have covalent bonding in it. Okay, now another reactivity of group 7 elements you need to know is that group 7 elements or halogens form ionic bonds with metals. All right, now this is very, very important. Now, a typical example is our sodium chloride. All right, so when group 7 elements like chlorine reacts with a metal like sodium, all right, it will form ionic compound. So in this example, sodium chloride, there is ionic bond existing in it. Another example is our potassium chloride. All right, this is an ionic compound as well. There is ionic bond existing in it. Okay, and the rest of them. All right, now let's not forget that in ionic bonding is usually between a metal and a non-metal. So in this case, this is a metal, this is the non-metal, this is the metal, and this is what the non-metal. All right, so when halogens react with metals, they form ionic bond or ionic compounds right from such reaction. Don't worry, there will be more on ionic bonding as a separate video. Alright, but just know this basic information about their reactivity with metals. And lastly, what you have to know about the reactivity of group 7 elements or halogens is that more reactive halogens will displace less reactive ones. Now, this is very important. Okay, now note that a displacement reaction can occur between a more reactive halogen and the sort of a less reactive one. For example, chlorine can displace bromine and iodine from an aqueous solution of its sort. Okay, whereas bromine will also displace iodine because of the trend in reactivity. All right, now just note this, that in the trend for reactivity of nonmetals, chlorine being the highest, the most reactive nonmetal. After fluorine, you will see chlorine. Okay, fluorine is more reactive than chlorine. Now, chlorine is more reactive than bromine. Just in that their order, we have fluorine, we have chlorine, we have bromine, we have iodine. All right, so in this order of group 7 elements, all right, the most reactive is fluorine. So in a displacement reaction, all right, fluorine can displace chlorine, bromine, and iodine, whereas chlorine will only displace bromine and iodine, and bromine will only displace iodine in a displacement reaction. Now let's look at a typical example. Let's say in this displacement reaction, chlorine gas reacts with potassium iodide. All right, now this reaction will form iodine molecule and potassium chloride. All right, now you need to balance this equation. To balance this equation, iodine molecule, iodine gas we have here has 2 atoms. The iodine here has 1 atom at the left, so we are going to balance it by adding 2 atoms here. So this 2 atoms will now affect the iodine here. So iodine is now balanced at the left and also at the right. What else do we need to balance? Potassium is not 2 at the left but 1 at the right, so we are going to add 2 here to balance potassium. Potassium is now balanced. Chlorine is also balanced. Alright, so this reaction, chemical reaction, is now balanced. So when chlorine gas reacts with potassium iodide, because chlorine is more reactive than iodine, it will displace this iodine from this potassium to form iodine molecular gas and then potassium chloride. Alright, now another similar example is when chlorine gas reacts with potassium bromide. All right, this reaction will form bromine molecule plus potassium chloride. Okay, now in this reaction, we need to balance the equation. To balance this chemical equation, we have 2 atoms of bromine at the right and 1 atom of bromine at the left. So we're going to add 2 atoms here. So bromine is now balanced. What of potassium? Balance potassium at the right. You need to add 2 atoms here as well. So potassium is now balanced and chlorine is also balanced. So this chemical reaction is now what? Balanced. Okay, so this is basically examples of displacement reaction of halogens of group 7 elements. So the high reactive one will displace the less reactive one in a displacement reaction. Okay, so this is the basic information you have to know about the reactivity of group 7 elements or halogens. We looked at first the 4 molecular compounds, which is this as examples. Again, is that halogens form ionic bonds with metals, alright, which is what we talked about here. And lastly, more reactive halogens will displace less reactive ones, okay, which is what we just talked about here. Alright, so guys, this is what you have to know for reactivity of group 7 elements or halogens for chemistry exam. Hope you learned something interesting from this video. Let's call it a class here. Alright, now if you are new to the channel, ensure you check the description of this video below for links to our Telegram channel. Click on it and join the Telegram channel for instant notification. Also ensure that you subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button. For more videos like this, like, share, and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel from what you learned from this class. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding this topic, feel free to leave a question in the comment section below and I will ensure to give you a response. Okay, so that's it for this class, guys. Now click on the end screen above and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.